Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Matchbook Horse Racing podcast, and it's our last one before Boxing Day. I should say before Christmas, but Boxing Day is obviously the big highlight coming up in the next week or so. We'll have a pod on Monday, incidentally, so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be previewing Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, whatever you want to call it. We might get some 27th races in there as well, but I think the Irish declare before the Brits. So we'll see what we've got decks-wise on Monday. Keep an eye out for that. If you enjoy our content, do like and subscribe. However you digest all of our content, it's the best no-cost way of supporting the podcast. So if you like it, please like, follow, and subscribe. Okay, you can see we've got an excellent team amassed. If you can't see us, I'll tell you, it's Ed Quigley, Charlie Poste, and Steve Jones, however you're listening. So you'll hear from each of those very shortly. So a nice big team for you to get stuck into, I guess, a decent weekend racing. There's not loads of races, but there's a bit of quality out there. And there's also a top-level race as well with the Long Walk Hurdle, which is where we are going to start. Steve and Charlie agree with Hidden Valley Lake. Steve Jones, why?
Well, it's a price thing, really. Hidden Valley Lake is, 4 times the price of the favourite Strong Leader. And if you go back to Aintree, in the Grand National meeting, Strong Leader won that Liverpool hurdle, and Hidden Valley Lake was only third, beaten nearly 5 lengths. But Hidden Valley Lake sat a lot closer to the pace that day, and it was a strong pace, and that race very much set up for Strong Leader's hold-up style, and he was able to creep into it. And Hidden Valley Lake was still there at the last when he was squeezed out between Strong Leader and Buddy One, had to switch. And I thought was certainly on the sectional times was value to be upgraded a fair bit. And I don't think Strong Leader's any superstar. I think the fact is he looks very good because he's in a desperately weak division at the moment. The staying hurdles is very, very weak. And I know Strong Leader came back and won nicely at Newbury, but he beat Monmoral in Langadan. You can't tell me that Hidden Valley Lake wouldn't have done that. I'm a little bit concerned about the form of Henry de Bromhead's yard, but Hidden Valley Lake, first time up this season, has to have seemingly a lot of time between his races. And if you go back to his novice hurdle form, he was very good. He's only run 6 times over hurdles, so opened a huge amount of improvement. So I really fancy his chances. I think he could be the one that starts to improve, and he wouldn't have to improve all that much to be at the top of the tree of the staying hurdlers.
Ed, excellent Christmas jumper. What do you want to
add? Yeah, I'm taking him on essentially. So that's what I'm going to add. But yeah, no, I agree with Steve's point in regards to I'm against kind of Strong Leader on the value grounds. If you're using the BHA ratings, which I know are Steve's favourite thing to look at as a guide, you can kind of throw a blanket over all of these. I don't think Strong Leaders is as far clear as every kind of rating metric would lead you to believe in terms of the market. And Strong Leaders jumping still gets me nervous. I know Ollie Murphy's theory is that he jumps better on a flat track, etc. However, I just think there's enough holes in him. I could kind of see the angle Hidden Valley Lake. I was kind of thinking of Crambo's got an unbelievable record fresh and did win this last time out. But I've come to Blue King Doro just reading Paul Nicholls' comments where last season he said he had him tuned up for the 2.5 mile race, which he went and won. And then he almost ran in this as an afterthought last season where, just backtracking to read Nicholls' comments saying he was using the 2.5 mile race as a starting point before training him for this. And I think that's kind of significant. We've seen a lot with the Paul Nicholls runners where they've needed to run to get rid of the ring rust. And obviously Nicholls can get them right for the Saturday when he's really targeting one. And you look back at his comeback run, it's pretty decent form with Colonel Mustard and Chowder Festival winning Golden Ace in behind. He was giving £6 to Lucky Place. He's been beaten a length and he was kind of coming back at the winner again in the closing stages. Just a value thing, double figure price there or thereabouts for a horse you know has been trained for the race. Blue King Doro for me to take on Ollie Murphy's short shot.
Okay, and it's Charlie that agrees with Steve, isn't it? Charlie, Hidden Valley?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to Ed's point, if the feeling is that Strong Leader jumps better on a flat track, then ASCOT definitely isn't going to suit him, as in it's a particularly up and down and undulating. So, and yeah, going back to Hidden Valley Lake, my selection, it's the must be the season of goodwill to all men, because I agree with pretty much what all of Steve says, which is unusual and surprising, but it is Christmas after all. Yeah, I think Strong Leader first and foremost is a worthy favourite, but I also think it is a terribly weak division, and he is definitely beatable, and 3.0 is short enough for that sort of reason. Hidden Valley Lake, as Steve says, wasn't far behind him at Aintree. I just never felt like Rachel Blackmore rode him on that occasion could be. It was never smooth up the straight. He got tightened up at the wrong moments, and he actually galloped out well in a race that, as Steve said, suited more patiently ridden runners. I think this track should suit him. Again, slower ground will be even better than the forecast, good to soft conditions, but I still think it's going to ride an awful lot slower than Aintree than it did at Aintree in the spring. So at 10.0, over 3 times the price of the favourite, I just thought he was a value alternative. And again, a selection that is price related more than anything.
Charlie, obviously you and I, but who's the third wise man?
Well, I mean, I suppose that's for other people to make their own minds up. Yeah.
Right, I'm the fucking donkey. Anyway, I don't care. You're all overcomplicating this. Strong Leader will win. What's wrong with all of you? There's value here. There's value there. He's the best horse in the race. He's the now horse. He comes here in good form. He's won his last 2, including one at the top level. Woolpark, not good enough. Crambo, God knows what he's going to do on first start of the season. Blue King Garou, not good enough. Hidden Valley Lake, first start of the season. He's surely going to need it. And he was beaten by Strong Leader last time. Strong Leader will win. Simple. Move on. Right. 150 at Ascot. We're going back to the Howden graduation chase. And you, Charlie and Ed agree. No bet for Steve, so I'll leave you out. Ed, you can kick off with the case for Jungle Boogie.
Yeah, Charlie, talking about goodwill. I'm just going through the roster. I believe me and Charlie are pretty much matched on about 6 of our selections today. Yeah, so there's something definitely. So
you are the third wise man then, Ed, for sure. Yeah.
Or maybe an absolute fool. We'll soon find out. But look, yeah, where were we? Back to this 150. Yeah, Jungle Boogie. I've got to be careful what I say here, but Phil Dorr didn't win a race last time out. It was 1-40, and previously to that, looked quite exposed, I thought, and a bit of an uncomfortable ride. He runs his snatches. James de Burley has gone 2 years without a win. Doesn't jump very well. Ascot's a stiff jumping test. Might get away with it in this small field, but also could probably need the run after 234 days off. Irocco, listen to Connection saying they're working back from the Grand National. They'd be quite happy not to overface him. So read into that what you will. But if he jumps around in third, I don't think they're exactly crying with disappointment. I don't want to get his mark ruined. And it kind of comes to Jungle Boogie. He is rising 11. But and he's a horse made of glass, but he's got so much ability. It's really frustrating. I remember Willie Mullins saying how frustrating he was once upon a time. Won his first 3 for him, always unbeaten, I think, for Willie Mullins. But injury after injury, but the caliber of opposition he's been tackling. 4th to El Fabiano last season. Jungle Boogie then won that listed race at Tremor, beating Classic Getaway. And then, of course, didn't run too badly at all in the Gold Cup to finish 6th. I mean, again, you look at the horses ahead of him, like Lompress, Brave Man's Game, Galopin de Champs, etc. This represents a huge, kind of chalk and cheese into calmer waters here. I just think he could boss this field. I know he's 10 rising 11, but this is not a strong race. Small field of suits, and if his legs of glass hold up, I thought he'd be closer to favouritism than the outsider of the field, shall we say. So, yeah, Jungle Boogie for myself.
Charlie.
Yeah, price related again. Again, Irocco working back from the National. Also, he's just coming out of novice season. He got beat by Trelawn the last day when he was favourite. James de Burley, really heavy fall on his latest start. Darryl Jacob again returning from injury, and Phil Dorr, big questions to answer. Jungle Boogie's very fragile, but as Ed said, he's always been described as having a big engine. He also finished 6th in a Gold Cup, and I don't know if the other ones in this field would be able to do that potentially. Pace pressure might be a problem. James de Burley goes forward as well, but if he is able to boss this, I think over this intermediate trip as well on a stiff track, he might be well suited to this. And yeah, I was just surprised there was the difference in price between the 2 above him compared to him, for all that he has to carry that £3 penalty. But I don't think that's a big problem.
I'm with Iroko. My starting point is normally to see if I can take on a favourite. I mean, I think I'm putting up 4 favourites at ASCOT, but there we go. I thought that Iroko was very much a working back from something ride last time. I thought at Haydock, where Trelawn battled on to go and score, but I thought Iroko was given a lot to do to the ground that he made up and when he made it up as well. So I think this will suit better. I think he'll be readier and more all out for this. And I admit I'm slightly carrying that I am a huge fan of the horse probably into it. Maybe that's conditioning my opinion a little bit, but I know he's not top rated, but I think he is the best of these. So I'm hoping he goes on to score. Iroko. Okay, we move on. So we're going to Haydock next. So this is the Tommy Whittle, and Ed and Steve are in agreement. So we'll kick off there with a bit of a price, a 10.0 shot. Steve.
Yeah, all or nothing horse, Regal Blue. The last 5 starts, he's pulled up 3 times, but he's won the other 2. And there's definitely reasons why he was underperforming in those 3 races he pulled up in. And you kind of get a horse like him who has got an inconsistent profile, and they don't get hammered by the handicapper, or tend not to. So the first of the pulled ups was last January, which was 3 miles 5, which just was too much of a stamina test at that stage. Then he won at Haydock on heavy ground, which is a great thing. Not all horses handle testing ground at Haydock. Then he was pulled up at Wincanton. He's never really gone right-handed. His best form is definitely left-handed. Then he won beating the Changing Man, who, although the Changing Man hasn't managed to win a race, he's always been, and he'll be fancied in the Silver Cup again at Ascot. So that was a good performance, making all the running. And then the next pulled up last time out was on his return to action at Bangor, where he's going to be an awful lot sharper for that. So I think he's ignored because of his inconsistent profile. But on his day, and there's every reason to think that he will be on his day this time, he's got absolutely great chance. And he's been ignored in the betting because of those P's. And it never did anyone any harm on Countdown to get a lot of P's in.
Ed, you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. All the reasons mentioned. And clearly the horse is just a law unto himself. And I don't think they really know in terms of connections when he's going to perform. I mean, he was smashed into favourite when he won at Haydock on the mud. But then conversely, I think he opened around 8 or thereabouts. He drifted out to a massive price when he won at Uttoxeter and got the job done in really good fashion. So I think he is a bit of a character. He'll decide when he wants to do it. But he has decided, when you look at his CV, he'll do it when the mud is flying, and he'll do it at Haydock, which, as Haydock to mile tell you, or Haydock Pagai, that's the kind of form you like. So, yeah, I'm with Regal Blue.
I thought it was between the top 2 in the market, Famous Bridge and East Street. I've gone with East Street, who's a point and a half bigger at 5.5. I still think James Owen is a little bit underestimated in some of the bigger races. Unbelievable season across both codes. Callum Pritchard is very capable as well, having a very good season. Was on board last time over the smaller obstacles, back over fences here, and is just very much on a roll and has won at the track as well. So I thought he'd be a bit closer to Famous Bridge. For all I do respect that horse off the back of the Kelso run, Charlie.
Yeah, I thought Famous Bridge was very solid. He loves Haydock. He's 2 from 3, and he unseated when going all right in the Grand National Trial on his only other start there. Then followed that up with a 4th in the Ultima behind Chianti Classico. And I thought the return at Kelso just smacked of a horse blowing the cobwebs away behind Elvis Mail at Kelso. Returned to a track that he loves. He's only £2 higher than when he won this race last year. I thought he was really solid at 3.75. And the trainer, Nicky Richards, is going great guns as well.
Moving on to the 240 at Haydock. This is a just shy of 2 mile handicap hurdle. There's a team steam in here. I'm the donkey again. Luna de la Mer for me, for Henry Brook and Greenland Guerriero, who are having a good season again. Obviously, this is going to be slightly different, drop back in distance into a handicap off the back of the main win last time. But then I think there's loads of upside of 110 to this horse. He won nice enough last time. This is a first start for a long old while, but I thought that 110, you could make a case that he's very well treated. If you go back to the Camzanas run in that Kelso Bumpery looked well treated on that. The Bumpery one hasn't worked out badly. So I thought 110 there was a bit left potentially, but you lot all agree with Mill Dam, who's an even bigger price. Charlie, I think you can go first here because you followed a few people on agreements. So why Mill Dam?
Yeah, I mean, why Mill Dam? Because I think I felt like there were questions to answer over plenty of them, and including your selection. For all that I can see the upside, just with the time off, I was wary of on what's going to be very, very testing conditions. Mill Dam had a really prolific time of it last year, winning 3 starts. And the run at Huntingdon, in what I thought was a quite a trappy little handicap on his return, was satisfactory. For all that, the one thing I would temper with that selection is I wouldn't really recognise Jamie Snowden as a yard that have their horses sort of improving for their first start. But he still ran a solid race. He loves testing conditions. HAYDOCK should provide that. I think his marker, he got dropped £1 for the Huntingdon run, so the mark is still workable for a 6-year-old that still potentially should be on the upgrade. And again, for a team in the Snowden team that has been in really good form throughout this sort of first half of the jump season.
Who wants to go next? Don't mind.
Yeah, I'll go. It's only because I spoke to Jamie Snowden about this. An interesting point Charlie made with regards to Snowden's horses not tend to be pretty straight first time out. Well, actually, this horse came back in a little bit later than some of his others, hence why he's not reappeared till December. So he thinks he probably did need a run. You actually looking through last season as well, he needed a run at Kempton and then came out and absolutely bolted up at Foss last second time of asking. So maybe here's a slight quirk to the norm in the Snowden yard. That is a horse who traditionally takes a step forward for the outing. And Jamie said pretty much all the flat track, almost unraceable ground. That's what he loves. The only snag is off 125. It does officially require a career best on the weights and measures, but they do kind of go out the window to a large extent, don't they? At HAYDOCK, it's just going to be survival of the fittest here, especially if they get more rain. So I think everything's in place for a really big run, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was well backed on today.
Anything to add, Steve?
Yeah, just that he was hugely progressive last year. He won 3 of his last 4 starts, and the one that he didn't win, when he was 4th to Santos Bleu, I don't think he stayed 2.5. So 2 miles on desperate ground, like Ed says, and it's good to hear that he's got the potential to have improved for that first run of the season, which I was hoping that was the case. And he's the obvious one for me. And he's also that last win at Stratford in March on testing ground. He stays in the same grade, and the fact that he's top weight, giving away weight to other horses, people will say, oh, heavy ground, you don't want to be top weight. It's always an advantage to be top weight because it's easier to give weight to lesser horses than the other way around.
Okay, moving on to the Premier Handicaps, the Howden Silver Cup over 3 miles. Victorino loves it here, who heads the market and is there at 3.25 or 3.0. For 3 of us, for me, Charlie and Ed, thought he was very solid. He didn't jump great last time. He still ran a really good race. He tends to jump better here, although when he was beaten by 300 through 5, maybe that wasn't the case. But he wasn't. Let's go to Ed first of all. He wasn't a favourite I wanted to take on.
No, I just thought very solid. Bit of a disappointing renewal, this, isn't it? Smallish field. You usually get a kind of 20 runner kind of rip and sprint, don't you? But yeah, we've not got that here. But yeah, last year's winner, he's come back down the handicap since he's only £1 higher than when winning this 12 months ago. 2 from 3 at the venue. Goes on any ground. I mean, it was actually unseasonably dry, wasn't it, at ASCOT, if I remember rightly, 12 months ago when we previewed this race. And but he's got form on soft like all Venetians do in inverted commas. And I just thought it was the most solid one, to be honest with you. Been there and done it. I thought it would be absolutely, you'd imagine this has been the target since the medieval times, and it'll be trained to a minute for this. So yeah, Victorino to win the race again. Charlie.
Yeah, very solid favourite. I thought, won the race last year off only £1 higher. Really good return at Newbury behind Can Do Kid. Like you said, jumping could be polished up a little bit. But with a horse that loves this track as well, I think ASCOT can be a track where you get horses that specialise there and operate, and he definitely does. And yeah, and in what, again, like Ed says, is a fairly disappointing renewal from a competition point of view, I thought he was really solid.
And Steve, you're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I really fancy Trelawn. I've always liked this horse. He goes. He was very progressive over hurdles, took well to fences, and I really fancied him at the Ultima, and he fell early on. Fell at the second in the race that Chianti Classico won. It was the stablemate of Trelawn, and I think Trelawn can almost, if he keeps progressing, can fill that gap that sadly Chianti Classico is going to leave in Kim Bailey's yard. Beat a Rocco last time at Haydock. Did it very professionally from the front in soft ground, but he's got no problem with better ground. In fact, he's bred for better ground, so there's a chance that the conditions, or the slightly drier conditions, will suit. I think he's a wonderful prospect, and I just think he could easily be a little bit better than this bunch. So yeah, Trelawn, get on the front end, jump, and hopefully see it out. I fancy his chances big time.
Last race at Ascot is the 2 mile handicap hurdle. 13, we've seen maybe slightly bigger fields. I think there's some good horses in here potentially, and obviously a few of them coming out of the Greatwood last time. BeGambleAware and Dysart Enos are vying for favouritism. This wasn't a race I wanted to look too far down the betting, which is the tail for the whole weekend for me, really. But BeGambleAware for myself, for Charlie, and for Ed, who Charlie I thought did really well from off it last time. Now he's got 3 2s, he's got 4 2s to his name in his last 4 hurdle starts. But I don't think that's necessarily a thing on him. You know, I thought his attitude was good last time. He maybe just had a little bit too much to do, but I put him up in the Greatwood, and I'm with him again.
Yeah, same. I did the same thing as you. 100% agree with all you say. I think this track will suit him really well as well. You know, as in the old course at Cheltenham, sharp speed test. As you say, he was dropped in and he made it massive late headway to be the only one that really got anywhere near Burdett Road. Like I said, I think this track will improve, suit him better. He's a horse that was always going to improve physically. He was a real shell last year, brought along steadily by the Skeletons. Look, the £7 rise for that narrow defeat isn't ideal, but I think Dysart Enos is up 4 as well. And I don't see any reason why he shouldn't maintain that form with her. You know, I think the Skeletons went into the Greatwood, yes, hoping that he was going to win, but accepting that he was going to improve. All the vibes from Dysart Enos was she was the best handicapped horse in training. She had stones in hand, and she still got beat, and she got beat comfortably by this lad. So I'd take him to uphold the form with this track being a benefit to him. And I think he's an exciting horse moving forward, you know, as in I think there still could be more improvement from this mark. I'd expect him to be rated a good bit higher than this by the end of the season.
Ed, do you want to add anything?
No, I agree with all of that. Yeah, BeGambleAware, my selection.
Good man. Steve, who are you with?
2 miles round Ascot, not easy to come from off the pace. Front runners got an excellent record around here. That's underlined by 4 of the last 8 winners of this race made all the running, and that's where Steel Alley will be up with the pace. Very good return to action behind a stablemate, also trained by Sam Thomas, called Lump Sum in the Welsh Champion Hurdle, when there was nothing between them in the weights, and then came out and won over a bit further at Haydock. So see the distance out, be up with the pace. And Sam Thomas has got his horses in great form. Dylan Johnson, who rides all of Di Walters, always the retained jockey, takes off £3. So I just think he's massively overpriced at 15.
All right, that's the races done and dusted. We now come to any other weekend bets. I'll kick off. I'm first on the list. Carbon King in the 115 at Ascot, back over fences. I thought was just a little bit. He's massive outside of the field, 19.0. The last over fences was a bit of an improvement. He hadn't got round before that, but I think he's done pretty well since he's come over from Ireland. And if you go back to that start and ignore the last 2, then he's got a better chance than the market would give him. He'd definitely go off shorter. Carbon King, I was very surprised he was 19.0 outsider in the 115 at Ascot. Steve?
The last race at Haydock, I think it's 3:15, Half Track, who hasn't missed the whole of last year, but it's come back with a third behind 2 very progressive horses, Plaisir de Flow and Mr. Hope Street. And then last time backed it up with a solid enough effort at Carlisle. I think he's got the potential to be very well handicapped. half track, 315.
Charlie?
Below the radar, Hereford 213. I put him up as a horse to follow on the pod where we did that. And again, I put him up at Uttoxeter last time where he was backed into, I think he was odds on, traveled incredibly strong over 2-7. And probably, I'm hoping, like a lot of the yards runners, the Nichols horses, he just got tired, maybe didn't quite see it out. Returned to 2 mile 3 round Hereford, which is a track he's won at before. I think he's going to take a lot of beating, and even better, Nemean Lions in there, which compresses the weight. So I think he's off 10-3 minus Freddie Gingel's £3 claim.
Okay, a Matchbook Zero long shot. Remember, Matchbook Zero goes live at 1 hour, before each and every race that you're looking to bet on. Win-only bets, but you're most likely to get best odds because there's zero margin and zero commission with Matchbook Zero. So check it out. Mine's Carbon King at 19.0 and that 115 at Ascot. Steve?
Steel Alley and the Ladbroke at Ascot.
At 15.0. Charlie?
Hidden Valley Lake, 10.0 in the long walk.
Ed?
I was going to go Blue King Doro, but Charlie's already gone in there, and we've Hidden Valley Lake in the same race. So, but that's my token suggestion.
Well, there you go. You're very much allowed. That's fine. Best bets then. Mine is Strong Leader, just because I felt like it. Really,
you just want us all to cry, basically, don't you? Yeah, that's basically what you want. Why you've done it. Yes.
After the Three Wise Men comment, I've changed it basically. Strong Leader in the long walk. Steve?
Do you think you are a strong leader?
No, I don't.
No, don't you? I do.
No.
I do.
Oh,
my
thanks,
best bet
Steve.
is Trelawn in the 3 o'clock at Ascot.
Charlie?
Famous Bridge in the Tommy Whittle at Haydock.
What's our famous bridge, Steve? Can you remember what was that horse? What was the famous bridge that that architect built?
But what you mean? Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Brunel, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Named after the university, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's
Brunel.
right.
Yeah.
Tamar Bridge.
Tamar Bridge, Clifton Bridge.
Suspension bridge.
He did quite a lot, you know. If you look him up,
Okay, I regret it.
Tinson,
I regret it. Mute him. I regret it. Ed, who's your best bet?
Mildam, 240 Haydock, flat track, mud, and we should come on for the season reappearance.
Head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of our best bets from the Three Wise Men and the Donkey. Happy Christmas. Eeyore.